Welcome to the Construction Disruption Podcast, where we uncover the future of design, building, and remodeling.
I'm Todd Miller of Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing. Welcome to Construction Disruption, the show where incredible stories about construction and remodeling are brought to the forefront. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Bell. How you doing today, Ryan?
Hey, Todd. I am, it's that time of year where the soybeans start coming out, and it's my favorite time of year, so I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, too. And, of course, we got a football game coming up this Saturday, so go Buckeyes. I'll say that right here at the start. But, no, that's awesome. Well, are you good to get rolling with this?
I'm ready. Looking forward to this episode.
I am, too. So today here on Construction Disruption, we are joined by Pete Dabbelt, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for G4 Marketing Group. This is some folks we've known for quite a number of years. Pete, however, with broad experience in home improvement and home services, as well as, like Ryan and I, originally hailing from the Buckeye State, Pete is here to tell us all about the ways in which G4 helps home improvement companies with marketing strategies that end up helping those companies get more customers and do it at the lowest possible marketing cost. That all sounds awesome to everybody out there. So, Pete, welcome to Construction Disruption. We're anxious to learn from you today.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited and proud to be a part of this podcast. I've been listening to you guys for quite some time now, so really looking forward to it. Yeah, I hail from the state of Ohio. I've moved down to Charleston, and now I've resorted to making cheese quesadillas in the morning for my children before they go to school, for school projects and all that fun stuff. And now it looks like we have a potential tropical storm on the way, which is something we're not too familiar with up in the Midwest. So a little different lifestyle down here, but happy to be on the podcast.
Well, thank you for joining us. You guys will be in our prayers. Hopefully this one doesn't end up being something too horrible. But anyway, so one of our last episodes, a couple episodes ago, featured Rob Haddock of S5. They're the guys that make the clamps to clamp solar and everything on the metal roofs. But anyway, he told us in the show, I was a little shocked by this, that he'd have to kill us if he told us what S5 stood for. So without any possible threat of our demise, I hope, can you tell us what G4 stands for? And I know you spell it with little g and then 4, but tell us what G4 stands for.
Well, I had known G4 for years before I had joined the team. And during my kind of onboarding, I asked our co-founder, Brian Kaskavousian, the same question. And he kind of looked at me and smiled. And over to the left in his office was this model G4 airplane or private jet. And I guess, at some point in his early entrepreneurial career, he had set out, kind of on his vision board that he wanted to have a G4 jet. So I would say that's where it all started. But then, we've kind of developed it into what we refer to as the 4 pillars of relationship marketing. So the G4 pillars are showing up to consistently, say thank you to every customer you do work for, putting those customers into a long-term referral program, staying top of mind with them, throughout the experience, during and after the install, and, quite frankly, forever, so that they always know how to get a hold of you and are reminded of all the great things that, we're doing out there. And then last but not least, our 4th and final pillar is 5-star reviews, making sure that we're capturing as many of those opportunities as possible and delivering that great customer experience with every homeowner we touch.
That's awesome. And that's all stuff that I think is a challenge for every contractor out there today. And well, I want to dig into that a little bit. I know that G4 started in 2009, I believe, and you guys have some pretty tasty roots to your business, but you've added a lot of additional services over the years. So give us a quick overview, if you would, please, about how G4 started and where you are today in terms of the work that you do for your clients.
So we started, again, the co-founders, Brian and Addie, kind of came from the industry. They had built this franchise called the Handyman Network to about 20 locations nationally. And, they experienced some challenges as business owners, and also experienced some rewards, and found some, specific areas that they really were proud of the results, and then also very passionate about, and that's relationship marketing. So they took some of the relationship marketing components out of, what they were doing there with the Handyman Network, and they brought it to market here with G4 in 2009. So what we do is a lot of kind of what those four pillars stand for. It's your back end partner. We're kind of behind the scenes doing all of these, we feel our best practices so that you or the contractor can continue to focus on what they do best and count on us, to deliver a consistent experience post install. So we integrate with CRM. So a lot of the industry CRMs that we're all familiar with out there, we look for the previous week's jobs that were completed and paid in full, and we pull that customer contact information into our program. And then within 7 days, we have a box like this that shows up on the front steps of the customer. Inside the box is a thank you card. All of this is branded with the contractor's logo. It's got their, headshot photo. We've got friends and family gift cards that we leverage for repeat business and referrals. And then we also have a big jar of cookies that we put in here. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. I'm pretty sure one of my kids ran off with that. But and so we help the contractor show up and say thank you, after every job. And again, we talk a lot about the law of reciprocity. And, you do something nice for someone, like show up on time, deliver on all the promises that you made, and then, they've got this great experience. In addition to that, let's say thank you. It's a lost art. Unfortunately, not a lot of us are very good at that today. I think we all have the right intentions, and just life happens, and unfortunately some of that stuff gets pushed aside. So we help the contractor say thank you, and then again we take that customer and put them through this long-term referral program where we stay top of mind. We've learned through, I guess it's been 16 years now of data, that 58% of referrals come in after the 1-year mark of the job being completed. So if you think about that for a minute, that's a lot of referral opportunity that could be left on the table if you're not staying in touch and reminding your customers how much you appreciate for referrals, how important referrals are to the business, that you reward for the referral. So we put this referral program front and center, and we continue to bring it top of mind, through all the long-term marketing that we help with. And then it's all, again, executed on behalf of the contractor so that they can continue to focus on all these other top priorities. So it's integrated throughout forever. And so we hear often that contractors will ask for referrals at the end of the job, but then they usually kind of let it slip after that. They're not always that great at keeping those referral programs top of mind. So our mission is to do that. And then again, reviews, I can go into some of that later, but essentially we've got a great platform where we help capture the review in person, or we can automate the request and get those reviews streamed to the contractor's website. And then last but not least, we help with long-term marketing, which is, kind of a multi-channel approach through email, print newsletter, and texting.
Well, I think it's interesting that you folks make a big point of the fact that you are not just a marketing company that happened to find, hey, we've got a little niche with home improvement. Really, you are folks, kind of born out of the home improvement industry, and you have strategies, just as you described, specifically for our industry. I'm kind of curious, why do you think that's important to your customers versus just going to the marketing firm down the road and trying to work out some of these things?
Yeah, really good question. And I think it's important for many reasons. First of all, we understand the industry and we know how to talk to homeowners. Again, this is our kind of bread and butter. So a lot of our content and kind of direct programming strategies are built on that engagement with the homeowner and that in-home sales experience. So that's one. And then secondly, in our industry, unfortunately, when we talk to a lot of, remodelers, contractors across the country, they don't always have great experiences with the marketing space. They're maybe overpromised and underdelivered on a lot of, kind of lead guarantees and conversion numbers and, cost of marketing percentages that may not always come to fruition. And, just given that we do come from the industry and we actually understand that this industry is very close and that, once you create a relationship and you do something right by somebody, that resonates across. And just on the inverse, if you don't do so well and maybe, go down the wrong path, it also starts to probably resonate 7 times faster because, people like to share all their experiences, whether good or bad. And that means a lot to us. We want people to trust us, and we want people to, have confidence in our ability to deliver. And when you couple that with the content creation and just the overall understanding of offers and what homeowners look forward to receiving, I feel like it's a very good formula for success. And so, oftentimes when you're talking to some of these other firms that may not just specialize in home improvement, that they, work across many verticals, you have to kind of explain yourself over and over on what you're trying to accomplish and the reasons why and, the budgets and all of that. And so, yes, is still a little bit of that, but we understand and we can also then make strong suggestions based off of results we've seen from their peers that we know work well because we've got data and, these, home improvement companies, firing on all cylinders, daily. So we can share data and we can share, ideas that I think would be beneficial for everyone in the home industry and home services space.
Sure. Now, I assume that once a customer of a contractor starts to receive things from you folks, it's all branded for that contractor, correct? They're not getting things from G4 marketing and trying to figure out who these people are, right?
Yeah, really good question. They won't even know that G4 exists.
Right.
It's all going to look and feel like it's coming from, from Todd or Ryan. It's going to have their logo, their branding. And then we usually put a spokesperson, in this campaign. So there's a face that, the homeowner can relate to. So it's going to be the business owner or somebody on the leadership team generally that we will kind of attach along to these campaigns. We do have some clients that want to highlight their reps, because they've had that experience with the salesperson. So we will, have custom letters that come from each rep in that organization. So a lot of that is really determined by the data we pull out of the CRM. So as long as we're capturing that information on the front end, we can basically look and feel, however this, business wants to, present themselves after the job's installed. But yes, that's a very good question. It's not going to highlight G4 at all. It's all about the contractor.
Well, I can certainly see how what you're doing is going to help with, what I've always called referral maximization and generating leads, referral leads. You guys also make the point that you feel that this sort of program also helps your contractors increase their close ratios, I assume, on those leads. Can you flesh that out a little bit, how you think that works?
Yeah, well, so we do probably close to 50 conferences, expos a year. And I would say of those 50, maybe 30 to 40% of those, we are up on stage presenting. And oftentimes we'll ask the room, if we were to issue a lead, which one of these 5 leads would your reps want first? Would they want the website lead, a canvassing lead, a home show event, a referral, or a repeat customer, a previous customer lead? And usually you hear everybody yelling out referrals or previous customers. And so then we turn around and ask, okay, well, what can we be doing more of to drive those leads? And then B, why do you say those lead sources, so confidently? And it's because the trust factor is built in. There's a very high close rate associated with referrals. On average, we see 50% close rates on referrals once those leads are issued and ran. So it's a very profitable lead source as well, because again, there's the word of mouth factor. It's coming from a relationship that you've already established. Right now, we all understand that the cost of leads seem to continue to go up and up and up. So when you can, come in at a very low cost, that also impacts that profit margin, obviously. So one of the things that we stand by is, in our referral program, we really try to suggest that our clients focus on rewarding the behavior that makes them more money. And that behavior is having their customers send referrals that result into issued appointments. Most often, when we meet with contractors, they will only pay out a referral if the person who's being referred buys. So like Todd refers Ryan, Ryan moves forward with a new metal roof, and great. Now I'm going to pay Ryan a couple $100 because he bought. But if Ryan doesn't buy, Todd still went out of his way to make the introduction and to put his trust that you're going to treat Ryan well. And you go out there and you meet with him and you present price, but for whatever reason he doesn't move forward, we still want to say thank you for that referral opportunity, and we want to reward that behavior. So we suggest sending Todd something like a check, or maybe it's a gift card. Something now we're seeing is people want that instant gratification. So if the homeowner has options to go in and say, hey, you just earned $50 for that, referral opportunity, go get yourself an Amazon gift card or whatever it is that you like. They love that. But then when you do that, we see 6 times more referrals come in from these sources now versus only when we pay out on those that sell. So, kind of a big differentiator there in some of the success of these programs is trying to focus on that behavior versus the outcome, which quite frankly, Todd, you can't necessarily impact whether or not Ryan's going to buy.
Exactly.
It's great that you got him in front of us, but it's our job to sell the deal. So those are ways that we really try to focus on, like you said, those high close rates, those high profit margins. And then just overall, it's a great opportunity to continue to fill in those slots for appointments when, we see leads dry up from other sources, depending on what's happening in areas we can't control, like the economy or elections or what have you. So you can control your database and the engagement that they experience with you. And we think it's a tremendous, gold mine that, unfortunately a lot of us ignore. So, when you stay consistently in front of that database and do all the right things and build value and communications that your customers look forward to receive, now when your call center reaches out, it's a more friendly conversation. Now when you need to rely on referrals, it's easier to get those referrals than when you just pick up the phone and start calling because, oh, shoot, we're behind this month or what have you. So kind of a long-winded answer, but yeah, that's kind of the whole overarching picture of relationship marketing and why it's so impactful from a close rate and profit margin.
Makes every bit of sense. I love it. So curious, what does your typical client kind of look like when they come to you? What are their struggles? What are their dreams? I mean, what are you trying to be the Advil to alleviate their pain for?
I think, what's great is most people have this understanding that it's important to do all of this. Like they know that they should not forget about their customers once they do the work, especially for those, businesses that offer multiple product lines. Like if you do windows, baths, and doors or what have you, like there's a great chance to get back in the home. Even if you're just doing repairs and you want to do like a full replacement, there's a great opportunity to convert that repair into a replacement down the road. So I think there's a good understanding of the importance. The reality then hits that many people just don't have the resources internally to do it. Sometimes they'll kind of get off to a start in some of these areas, and then just the consistency of it, because it's not just a one-time email or a phone call or, a gesture that you say thank you. It's something that you want to continue to build on. So the challenges of just prioritization and resources becomes, I think, very real. And that really can be across all sizes of businesses from, a million to 100 million. Everybody's being pulled in all these directions. And oftentimes some of this stuff gets forgotten about. And then, like when it comes to email marketing and print marketing, it's like the content creation. What do we say? How do we say it? What offers work? And again, I think, yes, you can rely on your peer group. It just takes time and effort. And then actually going in and building the content, designing it, licking the stamps, stuffing the envelopes. I mean, that all takes a lot of time. So, to sum it up, I think a lot of it's just the intentions are very good when they come to us. They know that, hey, we need to be getting more referrals. We're just not very good at asking for it. Our sales team is just moving on to the next lead, and we want to try to find a way to build a referral culture here. So can you help us with that? And then we've tried this stuff. We sent cookies or we sent, Yeti coolers or whatever, but when push comes to shove and we start getting pulled in directions, that stuff gets kind of pushed to the side of our office and we have to go put out fires and run new leads. It's all about new, new, new. And and so again, I think those are some of the main reasons we hear it. Even, and again, I'll say this, because I think it's just in full transparency. We do have customers that will say, "Hey, we think we're at a place now we can handle this," and we're like, "Hey, you know what? It was great working with you, and we appreciated all the time together. Here's all of your assets from our campaign." And then and I don't have a certain percentage, but just this week we've had 4 previous customers come back and say, "Enough's enough. We need your help. We thought we could do this, but I mean, because really, it's when you think about these best practices, are simple in theory. It's just not that easy to just do, though. Like it's easy to say we're going to say thank you. It's easy to say we're going to ask for reviews. We're going to get more referrals. But then when push comes to shove, it's not that easy.
Having the discipline to do it day in, day out with consistency. I agree.
Yep.
So can you share with us maybe a success story of a client that you picked up who, just really, changed their business to start working with you?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. We use this tool called Slack internally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to communicate. Nowadays, most of us are remote. And so one of our Slack channels is client wins. I mean, this thing's going off, daily. And a lot of the client wins, again, we mostly just are in the home services, home improvement space. But, we're seeing stuff where within the first 3 months, they've seen a 6% increase already in referral revenues. In just 3 months, yesterday we had a customer that had a previous customer come back and bought $22,000 worth of services. I mean, we have all kinds of case studies. One of the ones I think we're really proud of is one of our first ever clients is still a client today. And when they started with us, they're called Ari's Roofing out of Tarpon Springs down in Tampa.
Great company, good friends of ours.
Very good people. And they strongly believe in relationship marketing. And quite frankly, they went from 7% to now north of 70% of their revenue coming from referral and repeat business.
Wow.
So pretty significant when you look at the volume they're doing. I think, last time I heard they were around that 40 million mark or maybe even north of that. So, you're talking 28, 30 million coming from referrals and repeat business. That's just a testament to the service that they're providing, the experience that they're providing, and that they have people in their markets waiting for them versus going to their competitors because they know that they're going to get treated the right way and they're going to have a great experience. And that's like the ultimate goal right there. They're doing it also with a very low cost per lead. So they're rock stars. We wouldn't want to set that expectation out of the gates because they have been with us now for think 12 years or I don't know, somewhere in that north of 10 years for sure. But on average, our clients will see a 30% increase within the first 12 months. So a lot of it too is just automating it and consistently executing for them.
Those are amazing results you're having. That's fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit, what's it look like for someone to get started with you folks? What's that process? How could someone get engaged with you?
I mean, we want to be as easy as possible to work with. So, we've got a great team here that, would walk you through the program, kind of share some visuals. We'll get some samples in your hands so you can experience firsthand, what your customers would be experiencing, taste the cookies, get the box in the house and share it around with all of your people to get them excited. But essentially, it's as simple as, jumping on a 45-minute call or less. We have some questions to ask. And then if all signs look good, we would move forward with an onboarding call, which takes about 30 minutes. We just need two things from the contractor. We would need a digital logo and a headshot photo of that spokesperson. And that's pretty much it. We go to work, we do all the design. Once the designs are approved, we share it with the customer for them to approve, or once the designs are completed, they get the opportunity to review them, to approve them. Once they approve them, we put them into production. Takes about 30 days. And then depending on their CRM and if they're interested, we also offer a database reactivation program right out of the gates to kind of go back into those previous customers and unsold leads, re-energize them with a good offer. So we've got a lot of experience with this. We see a tremendous shot in the arm right out of the gates with, names from the database that get re-engaged and come back into the funnel and either refer and or buy again. So those are kind of some simple steps, but I can give you my contact information before we jump off the call so you'll know who to contact. You can also go to g4marketing.com and request some information there as well.
Fantastic. We'll definitely get that from you here in a moment, and we'll put it in the show notes as well. And I want to give a shout out to the elves or whoever making the cookies, because I know that they're busting their tails doing that. So good job on that. But anyway, the cool thing is I always used to think of you guys as the cookie folks, and you have gone so far beyond that in terms of the services and the way you really help companies build into, again, what I call referral maximization. How do you do that as a business? Well, Pete, it's been great having you here on the show today. Is there anything we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to be sure to share with our audience?
I think we've nailed it. I really appreciate you two, helping us to get the message out there, about how important referrals are to all of us. And the only thing I would say is, I would love to, figure out ways we can work more together with your customers. And if there's anything you guys ever need from G4, certainly, let us know. It's kind of, I appreciate all the questions for us here, but if there's anything that you can think of that would, be helpful for us to talk together about, what you guys are doing there, I'd be more than happy to help, make a few comments or suggestions as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and looking forward to continuing and growing our relationship. That's for sure. So, Pete, it's been great having you here. Before we close out, I have to ask you if you're willing to participate in a little something we call rapid fire. So these are 5 questions that may vary. Some are silly, some are more serious. All you have to do is give a top of your head response. Pete, are you up to the challenge?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in.
Well, Ryan, you want to ask the first one? I'll give you that pleasure.
I would love to. Question number 1. What's a product or service you've acquired recently that's kind of been a real game changer for you?
We use a program called Sybil, which is kind of like an AI note taker that helps us find opportunities from within our client calls and in our customer kind of prospect calls to just get better. So it's does a great job summarizing all of our calls and understanding what's most important to our prospects and clients, and then leverage that information for better experiences down the road.
You said that's called Sybil?
I think, yeah, Sybill.
Wasn't that the character in some horror flick back in the 70s or something?
Could
The
be.
Exorcist or something? I'm sure it was. Anyway, one of those movies my parents wouldn't let me watch. So, question number 2. Got to ask this. What is your favorite flavor of cookie?
Chocolate chip.
Can't go wrong with that.
Classic chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. There you go.
Question number 3. What is a car or other vehicle that you once owned that you wish you still had?
Station wagon. Well, my parents had the good old Buick station wagon, the light blue with the wood panel.
Oh, a Woody.
Yeah, a lot of great memories in that, riding backwards or having the back laid out and driving down to Florida from Ohio, which you guys know, that's a long trip.
Yeah.
Sitting on the hump in the front there between mom and dad, that was in the 80s. I'm not sure some of that stuff's allowed anymore, but I'd love to have that station wagon again. That'd be great.
That's a good one. We were a station wagon family, so I grew up riding backwards in the back seat, and I actually know a guy that collects old cars. Kind of, he only buys cars that are mint though, that have not been refurbished or anything. And his last purchase was one of those old station wagons, and it was really cool to sit in the back seat and see it again and experience that.
Now that we're talking about it, I can't remember the last time I've really seen one out on the road.
You don't see them very often.
I don't see them often.
Question number 4. Do you have any talents that most people would not know about?
I can double numbers pretty freakishly fast. So, I like to grow like to the digits, but you can throw out some numbers and I'll double it right now on the spot.
Let's play.
Let's do it. Ryan, give him a number.
1,237.
2474.
Impressive.
Double that.
49, 48, 98, 96, 196.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
584. Yeah, it's a weird talent. I don't know how it started. I think I used to have troubles going to bed in college, and I would just lay there and double numbers until I fell asleep.
I think I would just drink. No, I don't know. just kidding. I went to a dry campus. Anyway, okay, last question.
All right, last question here. A little more serious. What do you want to be remembered for at the end of your days?
Just a great family man. I think it's important for me to leave behind. Well, gosh, I don't want to say it like that, but I don't know. Just I want my family, my wife, and my kids to just have great memories of their father, who did everything for them, from being a great support system, a great friend, a great believer in all things, and cheerleader for them. I want them to be able to take some of that and hopefully put it into use for their future families down the road. I don't know if that's the greatest answer, but that's I've got 3 kids. They're all. I got 2 in high school, one that's in 7th grade. So I'm kind of getting to the point. I have a senior who's going to college, and so I'm starting to experience some of these feelings about her not being here next year, and moving on, and hopefully having her ready to go out into the real world. Because isn't that kind of what we're here for? Is to get them ready to live without us and be successful. So. Yeah, I'd say that's what I want to be most remembered for.
That's a great answer. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, Pete, thank you again for joining us. For someone who may want to contact you, or again, who may want to get in contact with G4 Marketing, what are the best ways for them to do that?
So my direct phone number is 614-558-2350. And then my email is Pete, P-E-T-E, at the letter G, the number 4, mg.com.
Very good. Thank you. And you gave G4's website earlier, which is?
That's GFOUR marketing.com.
Well, thank you. I forgot to tell our audience that we were doing challenge words this episode, but they're probably used to that. Used to me forgetting it. We all did work in our challenge words. Ryan, you had the word
soybeans. And I will add, I think we set a record for how quickly we all said them. So
that was quick.
Yeah, it was like I didn't really have to tell people because we had them all out within the first 2 minutes of the show. Pete, your word was, or phrase was?
Cheese quesadillas.
Good job. And it very timely for you. Mine was go Buckeyes, thinking about, who is it? We're playing Illinois this weekend, if I think. So
yep.
We should hopefully be celebrating a win on Sunday or Monday.
Better be.
Yes, I mean, it can be tough. Illinois is not bad. It's a away game. Looking forward to the game, though.
Cool. Well, thank you again, Pete. We appreciate it a great deal. And thank you to our audience for tuning into this episode of Construction Disruption with Pete Dabbelt of G4 Marketing Group. Check them out. They're doing tremendous things to change the trajectory of home improvement companies. And please watch for future episodes of our show. We always have great guests. Always keep on disrupting, keep on challenging those around you to better ways of doing things. And most of all, don't forget to have a positive impact on them. Make them smile and encourage them. So God bless and take care. This is Isaiah Industries signing off until the next episode of Construction Disruption.
This podcast is produced by Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of specialty metal roofing and other building products.